Welcome to the Healing Spot. Our topic today will be, what does love look like? I'm your co-host, Marcus Holland.
And I'm Tiffany Wood.
And my first question to Tiffany was, not so much what love look like, what doesn't it look like?
Ooh. I think love doesn't look like surface level, like not knowing your person deep inside, or even not knowing yourself deep inside, aside from just the basic, hey, I know this person's favorite color, or, those things. I think love looks like knowing and a deep understanding of a person beyond just lust or the basic bare minimum of human nature.
So now I hear a mixture of what it looked like and what it doesn't look like. I would say, to me, what it doesn't look like is premarital sex.
Ooh.
Doesn't look like that. Love
Okay.
doesn't look like that. Love doesn't look like disrespect,
I agree.
not honoring, not cherishing. When the Bible said a woman is the weaker vessel, so that means I must prop her up.
Right.
I must encourage her on a daily to let her know her self-worth more than what she do know of it. That's a man's responsibility. But if I don't do that, then something wrong with my love, and I don't know what it looked like. But what if the woman doesn't know what it looked like? Then what would be a major problem with that? If she didn't know what it looked like.
I mean, I think in previous experiences, you're liable to accept anything or what's below, the standards of what love truly is or what it's defined to be. So I think women have influence in a lot of situations, and I think that ideally a woman should know what love does and doesn't look like for herself, to define what she will and won't accept in relationships.
So with a lot of women in this 2025, 2022, that daddy wasn't in the home, and he's the first line of defense, what love should look like, what it should be towards that daughter. So would it be safe to say, when the daughter leaves the home and the dad wasn't in the home, would you say that that's a recipe for failure of relationship in the love? Now, they may get into a relationship, but would it be a love relationship, or would it be a lust relationship?
I do think that, so define absentee father. Like, are you saying like my dad lives here and he's like not like together, he's in my life? Like, what does that look like?
It could be both.
Okay.
You can have an absentee father, he's in the home, but he's not loving on the daughter. He's not encouraging the daughter. He's not, in other words, he's not dating the daughter. He's not showing the daughter what a man should be doing, how he should be treating her, opening the door, taking her out there for a nice dinner, a walk in the park, a holding of the hands,
Right.
and embracing, plutonic. That's that man's job,
Right.
is to first show the daughter what she doesn't know. So when she gets out there, she would understand. Because he's really teaching knowledge by example until she's old enough to read herself. Because love is knowledge and insight.
Right. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's about as real as it gets. I think most black fathers, they show their love in different ways, even if they are in the home. And it's not holding hands, and it's not it's not like going to intentionally take you on a date. But I do think it can go both ways. So I have a father who has expectations, right? But then maybe he doesn't know everything about my life, or maybe I'm like, I'm not gonna tell him everything that's going on because I already know what that man expects, right?
Right.
So
So you ducking?
you might, yeah. In my experience, because I grew up around a lot, like uncles, grandfathers, my father, so I grew up around men and like what to kind of expect from that, or what they expected from me. Remember I told you about my older cousin who was like a cousin, dad, brother to me. He's like a mixture. But like, what they expect. It's just a matter of sometimes what you're willing to disclose. Now those are for the young ladies who actually have men in their lives, because you already know how that conversation's going to go with them.
Explain. But okay, this is what I'm saying. Love is acceptance.
Yes.
Love, we're going to use a biblical term. Love is kind. Love is patient.
Yeah.
Love is long-suffering. Love is gentle.
Yes.
Love do not
One of the fruits of the
quarrel.
spirit.
So what I'm saying, if that father knows what it is, the daughter will be more accepting of it
Yes.
and will not run from it.
Run from it.
So when they get out from dad, from underneath his wings, and when you go out there and you meet this man, you're gonna know if it's lust
Or love.
or love.
Yes.
And you're gonna know if he been taught. Now watch this. Who should teach that man how to love? His mother.
Yes. But a lot of men have motherhood wounds.
They have what?
Motherhood wounds because they're being raised without fathers. So they're being raised by women who've been left by men who they don't like. So how can you raise a man to love a woman when you don't even like men? So it's like a cross.
So now we got dysfunctional homes, right?
Ditto.
So now, with all that said, we as this black generation won't go and get therapy
True.
to get this dysfunction functional.
Yes.
But we still, I believe in the providence of God. He will put someone in your life to teach you what you didn't even get in the home.
Yes.
Because though I had a mom in the home, there was no one ever saying, I love you. Till I got born again.
Right.
And then I told my mom, I love you. She could almost fell out the chair. Think about it, it was never said.
Yeah.
I'm at that time 30-something years old. Never heard it. She never heard it. We never heard it from one another's mouth.
Right. I think that goes along with I think it's two things. I think it's therapy, and I do think it's looking at like the historical data, reading and understanding like curses, or not even that, just like culturally who we are. So if you, like for instance, like we look at older black generations, like I look at my grandparents, I don't remember like saying, oh, I love you. Like my grandmother, maybe when she was older, like toward the end of her life. But to them, love was, you better be glad you got groceries in this house and I'm going to work every day to provide for your butt. And because we've all had those conversations.
Yeah, but here's where it comes in, where it says in the Bible, don't love in just word, but love in word and in deed. So you got the deed part and not the word
Not
part.
the word.
So if you don't get the word part, and there's something happening in that deed that might disrupt,
Yes.
and then you might say, man, that ain't no way in the world my mom loved me doing
this.
But if she say, I did this because I love you, I care for you, I want your best interest at heart, because I know once you get out there, then it will be too late if I didn't teach you.
Yes, I see it both ways. So what's that saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah. So intentions can be jacked up.
Right, because so here's the thing about generational curses and why we struggle to break them in marriages and in the household.
But how you know if you're under a generational curse?
I think it's a level of, once you get enlightened, you start to see where the warfare lies, whether it is marriage or molestation or it's fathers not being present. It's all of these things. You can see it once you get enlightened.
What's going to enlighten you, though?
I think, one, God. I think, two, reading. I think, three, looking at something and even just acknowledging and being real, like, something about this is not right. This is tumultuous. Why are we always arguing? Why is this like this? Like, I think most people question why, but then if they question why and then try to change it, you become the scapegoat in the family to all of their trauma. Well, it's their fault because they always, we got to walk on eggshells around them because you won't tolerate the BS because you're enlightened, right? But it takes not everybody to be enlightened. It just takes a few people to want to have that change, even in marriage and relationships. But I do think a lot of things that we're battling are generational, but I also think it's a pendulum of shifting of needs because humans, as like women and men, our roles are evolving, not changing, not nobody taking over somebody else's role. I think our roles are evolving. It's a part of evolution where needs have changed and what family and marriage and roles look like.
So is it safe to go into a marriage with a need?
What would be the need, though?
It should be none.
Because you already defined that in our last session. It was off camera. And you said that people, especially men, for me as a woman, let people come how they come. Like if they are, whoever they come as, you're not supposed to be having to add to them. They're supposed to already be whole.
Exactly.
I listen.
And so, and unless you whole, you can't see someone that is broken.
That's true.
And we all have been broken unless we came up in a righteous home, a God-fearing home, been taught, been discipled, not going to church out of tradition,
right?
But been set down and dad, mom exemplifying it right in front of you.
Right.
Dad loving on mom, mom loving on dad. And we didn't see that. A lot of us didn't see that.
Right.
And now we're trying to do something out of just imagination.
And that's hard.
Definitely.
That's hard.
So here's the thing. I put myself on the hot seat. Why did I get married ignorantly?
You feel like you got married ignorantly?
Yes.
Why are you saying that? Because you're still married.
By the grace of God. Listen. When I say married ignorantly, it's not a bad thing. I didn't know how to love. I was lusting. It evolved into love. It's just the grace of God that has sustained itself. It's nothing, I tell people all the time, it's nothing that I've done to keep my marriage. Nothing.
But become saved.
That didn't even do it.
No.
It's the grace of God. Listen. It's the grace of God infusing my ignorance. Grace is God's unmerited love towards sinners.
Right.
So God gave me his love. Something that I didn't know existed.
Right.
Because with man and woman, man is attracted by the eye gate. Women are attracted by communication, the way I talk to you.
Very true.
Now, I knew that much, but watch this. That was even lust. Because my motives is jacked up.
So at what point did you come out of lust to love in your marriage?
Good one. I had to be broken. I'll never forget. I'm sitting there in the pews listening to my bishop preach. He was a prophet. And I'm just sitting there with my prideful self thinking I got it going on. And she said, Brother Marcus. I said, I know she ain't playing. She said, you know what your problem is? I'm like, man, I ain't even do nothing. She just called me out like this. All you see your wife for is sex. I said, oh my goodness. I said, no, she didn't. And she made me check myself. And when I checked myself, I didn't like it. I said, man, is that me? Ignorance now. Ignorance is cloaked in darkness. So you don't know. Until you said earlier, till you enlighten.
Yes.
Someone has to enlighten you. We start off with lust. We think we start with love. No, we're not. We're not starting with love. Unless you brought up in a home, you've been discipled, you know what it is. We have all started with lust.
And lust disappoints you, by the way, a
Say
lot.
again?
Lust disappoints you because it's
Oh, lust is death.
it is because many people end up disappointed in relationships and marriage, and I've learned this from my first one is you become jaded by, well, dang, this feeling's supposed to last. What happened?
Oh, sex. The feeling of sex.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then once that expires, because
How does it expire?
because every
Hold
because you
on. Let me ask you a question. Slow down.
sorry.
So you mean to tell me, as much as you and your ex was coming together, you lost the sensation?
Wasn't a sensation after that though, because lust does not cover a plethora of everything that happens in life. It's just a surface level emotion that's temporary.
I agree.
So you need love to cover every plethora of what happens in life. Good, bad, having kids, being broke, being rich, being everything, right? So, but most people function in that and then be like, oh, I love this person. It's like, no, you just got really intense lust because
But did they know what it was?
no, because everything flows from that. Like being hypersexual is I think that's the way to say it. Is being hypersexual, so then everything flows from that. So
They used to say white liver.
yeah. So it's like, so then you think, well, when you start functioning from lust only, well, my wife's supposed to just do whatever I want her to when I need her to. But what about her randomly? And it's like, but you're not covering the knowledge of what life
So
is bringing to us.
So you realize
Yes.
that your ex to be, because we keeping it 100. You going through the divorce. So all he wanted was sex.
In my opinion, yes. Or he didn't know how to love beyond the provision of money and lust. That was it.
Because so now we right back where we started. He didn't know what love was.
No,
Did you?
no.
Ooh. So
I did,
Hold-
but I don't know if I knew how to place it inside of a marriage, like what it really looked like. I don't think I did. No.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm throwing a long rod out there.
Oh Lord.
You wanted daddy back.
Because I'm a daddy's girl.
You wanted daddy back.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you see daddy in the beginning?
I don't know. Blessed, probably. I didn't want to see it. I was already told. Even before I jumped into anything. So that was the case. But yeah, and then when I got into it, of course, we meet customer service representatives.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this is awesome.
So what could Tiffany tell a young black lady today before they want to dive in talking about, I want to get married, I want to have a family, I want to settle down? What will be your suggestion?
I think make sure you have defined what love is for yourself. And I think kind of get an understanding of what that person feels like love is to them. And if those answers are just material or surface level things like sex or money, then you can understand you already lost the battle, or you need to do some deeper searching before you just like jump in and be like, yeah, we'll do this, especially marriage.
Okay. You are going through, even as we speak, what emotions that you're trying to recover from. Hold on. What mountains you trying to ascend from it bringing you down in a valley?
Oof. I think accepting the level of, I think for myself, not listening to myself, not heeding the failure and not heeding warnings, whether from other people or the things that were already showed, like not heeding to my intuition. Even before I walked down the aisle, there was like, hello, it's like right there in your face. Not heeding to that, I think. And so I kind of suffer from a little bit of like, I guess like shame, like, and just like sadness from feeling like sometimes I wasted my time. I think.
When you say wasted your time,
I said it.
we don't get that back,
No, you don't.
but we can redeem it.
Yes.
How is Tiffany redeeming the time? Watch this now. I believe once the anger subside, the disappointment, the rage subside, that's the only way you can redeem it. It's like, I'm gonna have to forgive that joker.
Yes.
And I'm gonna have to move on. But moving on is a word that may be just a word without you knowing the action of that word. How do you move on? How do you redeem that time? How do you become whole again with a broken marriage?
You know what? I feel like what has been shown to me, because I've been reading Value in the Valley by one of the first things that she talks about in that book.
What's the name of the book again?
Value in the Valley by Iyanla Vanzant.
Okay.
So one of the first things she talks about is like our need to be in control of like everything, perception, governing these things, everything. So the first way that I reclaim my time is to not control things. Like just let it be what it is. Like just sit in it. And I've had to slow down and literally just sit in the motion of I can't control this, this is what it is. And when I came to grips with it, it allowed me to look back and give like, God gave me like in retrospect, right? You still have so much life ahead to live. And this is not like an ending, but a new beginning for you.
So why did you take so much abuse?
You know what's crazy? I didn't even realize I was really in what we call an abusive type of situation until it was stuff that was blaring toward me, but until it started to take a mental toll on me. But that was like the probably I think 4 or 5 years in. Whereas, and then so when somebody gets into your mind, I don't think people understand abuse and like how it really works. Even women who get hit, when somebody gets into your mind and they say, well, this is your fault that I'm this way. I'm gonna keep doing this, and then they are skilled liars or manipulators. They will manipulate you into thinking if I do more or if I, it's me, then you will feel, then this will survive. So you keep trying, right? You'll go from being the prize to asking them like, oh,
So they stole your identity.
Yeah. Like, I can't even describe it. Like, the mental abuse, you would, in my opinion, getting hit, you can heal from that. But the mental part of being gaslit or whatever, like that stuff takes some overcoming mentally, just to come back from, just being like in a manipulative situation. So I didn't think I was in an abusive relationship because on the surface level, I had everything.
Oh, so on the surface level, what I must say But you may not agree.
Okay, tell me.
You were still lusting.
Whoa, that's a long time to be lusting.
Yeah. But the reason I say that is because love ain't gonna allow that.
Right. Right.
When you love you, you're not gonna allow anyone to abuse you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because you know they're not gonna stop. Because they wouldn't have started it.
In the first place.
Ah, yeah, now we're talking. So now you woke up
Yes.
to an abusive partner that he was always like that.
Yep. And it just got worse with time. And because what I thought.
So time can't fix it.
Time cannot fix things. Time does not fix somebody who is just wired that way. And what I learned is that it's not my obligation to change or fix. So if a man is this way and he, I don't have to keep giving chances. Does it make sense? And for me, I felt like I felt obligated in love, like, okay, this is love, so I'm gonna love him through it and we're gonna be good. But what I realized is I got lost in it. And the more I got lost, and how abuse works is, they take you out of yourself by mentally just playing games and doing things to you, and then turn around and blame you when you actually do get lost in.
So no matter how
the
much.
mess.
Okay, I'm gonna flip this for a minute.
Please.
I'm gonna use the word love, just moving lust out for a minute. So no matter how much you love this joker, he wasn't gonna change.
No. He wasn't gonna change. I think.
Why wasn't he gonna change? No, wait a minute. Here you are, attractive young lady. You're not drinking, you're not smoking, you're not gambling, you're not whoring. What did he want?
Beats me.
That's what the problem is. Oh, that's what the problem is. Because you trying to give something you've been given and didn't know it.
And I always felt like it wasn't enough. I was like, let me give more.
But see, we keep on saying we didn't give enough. What is enough? No. Pay attention to what you already give. That is enough.
That is enough.
That's enough. But if you're trying to go, you're going to lose your mind.
Yes. And then they'll weaponize your need. So how abuses work is they'll weaponize your need for that validation. So they'll create a situation where you need their validation. They'll weaponize the need for it. And then turn around and just like discard you. Or be like, oh, I'll discard you and then pick you up whenever I feel like I'm going to do it.
So now we talked about what love is not.
That's what love is not. Love is not that. That's what I can tell you. It's not that feeling. It's not that action. It's not somebody making you feel like you have to earn their approval. It's not constant criticism of what they're not doing, when in reality, them as a man needs to be more accountable for what they need to do. It's not those things. It's not those things. And I learned that I didn't have to work to earn my place in somebody's life. And I no longer will. If a man comes to me, he has to come to me honest and be like, hey, this is what I want, and show that too. If that is not the case, I won't be I'm not jump through hoops no more. Does that make sense?
Make a lot of sense. But here's what I want to make a overall sense. We read the Bible, we go to church, and we still missing the mark in our marriages, in our relationships, and we reading, and the one thing we not paying attention to, sacrifice. Jesus sacrificed.
Yeah.
That's love.
That is.
That's love. What am I willing to sacrifice?
Forget that.
For you?
Yeah.
What am I willing to sacrifice for my marriage? Am I willing to be put on the back burner? Am I willing to put you in the front? What am I willing to do to sacrifice your welfare your sanity, your health, your love intact. If you see none of that, then you know what you have.
Right.
But here's the danger. You coming through a divorce. And I believe I know the answer you're gonna give, but I'm asking anyway. Would you marry again? And why?
Yeah, I would marry again.
Why?
Because I feel like having somebody to do life with is awesome. And I think that God sent you the right person.
How you know it's awesome though?
Because, I mean, I don't think that in the beginning when God made Adam, he made him complete.
But
he
how
also
you,
made
no.
Eve.
I said how you know is awesome when you came from something that was broken.
That's true.
Hold on. Something that was discarded, something that was trodden over. I'm going somewhere with this, and I'm answering what you just said. So you know it's awesome by what's in you.
Yes.
Then why you just shut it down?
Shut what down?
Why did you shut that little girl down that knew it was awesome, knew what it was like, what it could be, what she wanted, but yet and still, you sacrificed that little girl on the altar?
You know why? I think internally, I'm an optimist, so I felt like somehow, some way, it would get better. Like without the facts of things, I felt like somehow, some way, with time, that
hold on.
it may have gotten better.
Are you not an intelligent black woman?
I'm very intelligent, but at that point, I was being ruled by my emotions and my heart. So I think those are two different things. So logically, right, you already know, like, it's probably not going to if you guys are getting help and it's getting worse, right? But when you see things from lust or love or just from the heart in general, whatever the case may be, then you feel like maybe with time things will get better until the absolute worst happens. And then when the worst happens.
So what would you say the absolute worst is? I'm gonna say it's not divorce.
What is it?
Losing your mind, losing your character, losing your integrity, losing your sense of being. That's worse.
That's worse.
Because you're not fit for nobody after that.
Being disrespected. Like, I could just.
Come on, give it to me.
Yeah, being disrespected. I think it was.
What do disrespect look like to you?
Ooh, baby.
Because a lot of people don't even understand. They think they're being respected.
I think that for me, this is probably the deepest part of what made me shut the door and never walk back was disrespect looks like to me when you are exposing somebody's, we live together and we're partners in this life. My most intimate moments, and you just allow me, you don't protect me, you don't cover me, and you join in with the embarrassment. That's disrespect. Disrespect is working to actively put other women in front of me as in the person that you have the covenant with. That's the ultimate disrespect. Because it doesn't even make sense when you think about what marriage truly is.
So there was nothing that you could do.
Because then that was beyond me. That was nothing that I could control. You remember in the book that I read, she talks about learning to let go of control. And a part of it is not repainting people for who you want them to be, but look at them for who they are. You know, people don't come perfect. We all make mistakes, right? But I think the true difference is the man who's willing to be like, yeah, I am like this, but you know what? I'm gonna take a different route on my own.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put myself on the hot seat. People use that word mistake loosely.
Ooh,
They do.
okay.
Okay. We're not Neanderthals. We're not, what is it, baboons? Baboons? No, we're not that.
Yes.
God just didn't put us down here and then we were just dumbfounded. We were just absolutely stupid.
Right.
No. You got to work your way to that. That's called iniquity. You got to get shaped into that.
Yeah.
Even though I was a rascal, I also knew right and wrong. I knew what I was looking at. So this is what I mean when I say it's not a mistake. They wasn't making mistakes. They was making decisions.
Yeah.
Listen what I'm saying. Now, we have talked things that you have discussed with me. And what I said earlier, no drinking, no smoking, no gambling, no partying, no cheating. You tell me, how do you make a mistake with that?
You don't.
Oh, thank you. Decision.
Right.
You made a decision to hurt, to abuse, to mistreat. That's not a mistake. That is a conscious decision and awareness of what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Matter of fact, I'm getting a kick out of it.
That's another thing. Somebody who get a kick out of that.
Yeah, because I want to now make you my slave. You just said it, I want to control you.
And I'm not a human being to you then.
No,
I'm a possession.
but that's what I want. I want you to move like I want you to move.
Yeah.
I want you to do what I want you to do.
Under my mind control. And I'm gonna play games until I absolutely get you into submission. And the thing.
No, listen.
Yeah.
He had you in submission.
He did.
He had you
And
in
I wasn't
submission.
even aware of certain
Right.
things. I didn't even know.
Right. So here's the beauty of what I said earlier when you asked the question, how then you and your wife stayed together that long? I said grace. You got grace. Grace woke you up.
Yeah.
Grace said, no, my daughter, no. You not a slave to unrighteousness.
Right.
We are supposed to be slaves to righteousness.
Yeah.
So my thing, if you stay too long, if you stop watching the signs, if you think you can play God, if you think, guess what happened after that? You be trying to come to manipulate them. Now y'all both in this marriage manipulating.
Trying to get love where there's nothing there.
So what does it look like? I want to say I want to do a double take. Okay. What does it look like when it was nothing there, when it all along was nothing there? What blinded you?
I think for me, I felt like I had finally found that person, right? And in my mind at the time, it made sense. And I can't tell you why, but it made sense for me, even though they were like, no, Tiffany, you're settling, right? But for me, I felt like I found my person. I'm like, oh, the conversation's there. Oh, we're physically there. Oh, we travel the world. We do all these things. And at the time, that suited a need for something I had never seen before, right? Or never experienced, at first. So I think that I was like, hey, this works for me. But then what I didn't realize is I had to sacrifice, I had to sacrifice like who I am almost in order to fit into a box to make this person happy. But I didn't realize that until the penalty became great.
So how did you lose your strength?
I told you. manipulate, like mine, when somebody always blaming you or
So
like
you wasn't as strong as you thought you were.
no, not at the moment, because if you are in a system, a family of people or any toxic system, it's more likely to change you before you change it. And if you overestimate your strength, you'll get in trouble.
We gotta visit that for a second. What does it look like overestimating your strength?
Overestimating your strength looks like working to control, thinking you can control things or that you can be bigger than the system, or be like, hey, this person's this way, but I know I can work to change it. And what you realize is in fact, that's not true. And it's almost foolish to overestimate and be like, where should I put my power? And I was placing my power, what I thought it was, into this marriage or relationship that wasn't changing. So I was just wasting a lot of my time and energy, not realizing that the longer you stay, the more you teach, the more you help, that you just are creating a monster all around.
I believe with the discussion, there's been some healing. There's been some insight. My next question before we close is that God, the first thing he does is deliver. You've been delivered.
Yes.
What does your healing, listen,
Yeah.
what does your healing really look like, feel like on a day-to-day basis?
Ooh, that's a good one. My healing right now looks like slowing down and really enjoying the moments that I miss because I was so wrapped up in other things that didn't matter. Whether it is me getting up in the morning and praying, reading my Bible, journaling, me enjoying my little girl because I spend a lot of time with her now. Whereas before, I don't think I did as much. But healing looks like that. Healing looks like focused on what's ahead, like conquering a new career or challenging myself to see things from a different perspective of life. So whereas I was worried about my pain and what happened, I no longer live in that. So now I look at things from what is this trying to teach me?
So in other words, you can become a healer.
What is this trying to teach me? Not why is this me? What is this trying to teach me? What has it taught me? And as a result, what am I going to do? So now I take, I try to take radical accountability for my decisions in my life. And it looks like talking more and communicating more. It looks like being vulnerable and not being afraid. And it looks like trusting myself. So instinctually, if I feel something, I'm gonna investigate it, and I just go with what I feel the truth is, trusting myself and not repainting it to somebody else's voice or perspective. And I think that's really changed my life, is learning to listen and value myself.
And with that said, Tiffany, we're gonna land this plane.
Yes.
And I thank you for the flight. I thank you for being vulnerable. I thank you for being honest.
Yeah.
And what I will say, I see the healing. I see the deliverance. And as we keep doing this and keep traveling, before you know it, you arrive at your destiny. So with that said, we close out. We thank our audience.
Yes.
And we say, God bless you.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.